How can we better support our loved ones going through something? Remind yourself and remind them that you matter. What are the best ways to support a loved one going through anxiety? On the other side of that, what are the worst things to do? So can you share with us, I guess, a list of do's and don'ts when it comes to being a partner or being a loved one of someone going through anxiety?
Well, supporting a loved one with anxiety comes with being mindful of our own thinking, feeling, and behavior. It's difficult to actually take care of someone without being able to take care of yourself first. So we cannot give what we do not have. So I have here these do's and don'ts just to compartmentalize how we could support someone who's going through anxiety and actually other mental health challenges. So for the do's, take note, we need to actually spend time with them and let them know that you're willing to listen if they need someone to talk to. Actually, people with anxiety, they would worry about being a burden to someone. Most of my clients actually express that they don't want to share about what they feel because they would be a burden or they could add up to the existing issues of their loved ones. So let them know that it's not the case and that you will not judge them. Because they're very sensitive to these words that could help them or make them feel that they're being rejected or you're not listening to them. Actually, listening is powerful. We don't have to actually talk and give them the advice unless they want it. So your presence is more than enough. Being there for them, helping them engage with activities that would help them to be in control. Because anxiety likes control. So how we could help someone who's going through these episodes. Maybe it's good if you will assist them in terms of building routines because the routines help them to be in control, to support them with these activities, going with them, let's say doing like exercise, spending time together, bonding time, whatever leisure activities you could think about. So these are ways where they could battle with the persistent negative thoughts when they're idle. So we could also encourage them, of course, to seek for professional help. It's important to have an expert assistance to manage their episode. And make sure you also read about anxiety. Okay? So this is part of the do's. For you to better understand their symptoms, you could read about it. There's a lot of resources available. And you could also seek professional help. That's for the reason that you want to understand more how you could be able to support your loved one who's having anxiety. So the efforts that you exert in understanding them and being with them, these are definitely helpful for you to make them feel that they're not alone. And this is actually one of the protective factors to manage the symptoms. So for the don'ts, be reminded that we don't have to force them to talk about their anxiety. Yes, we want to understand what's going on, but asking them about what made them anxious, that could be triggering as well. If you're gonna ask abruptly, how was your panic attack? So that could trigger them and that could remind them of that panic attack. So maybe you could wait until they're ready. Okay. Also, please don't get impatient with their process of coping, especially for those who are going to therapy or taking medications. We cannot expect them to be okay after just 1 to 2 sessions. Recovery is a process and we could support them in their journey by being there for them. And don't get frustrated if sometimes they're withdrawing or they wanted to be alone. That could be part of the symptoms, and they might need that as well. Lastly, don't let the anxiety affect you in your relationship. Again, it's very important that we care about ourselves so we could better take care of our loved ones.
So I was
Yeah.
curious, what are the most common stories you hear from clients about their family members or their partners or their friends na parang tinatry tumulong pero instead nakakasama pa or it worsens the situation? Are there common patterns you see?
There are statements that they keep on mentioning that could have an impact or trigger their anxiety more. If you would say statements, just think positive. So with this word, yes, of course, there's nothing wrong with taking it, positively. But for someone who's going through anxiety, that could make them feel like what I'm feeling is wrong. And I can't turn it into something positive. So they would feel helpless. So we have to be careful, of course, with saying words. So yes, it's okay to help them understand what they're feeling, but we need to be careful with the toxic positive statements that could lead them towards questioning what they're also feeling, because it's important to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Embracing these negative emotions, it's part of understanding what they're going through, and also that will be helpful for their recovery process.
Wow. So just
Mhm.
stay positive or just think positive is something common talaga, no?
Especially for people who would like to ignore, you don't have to feel negative about it. Just stay on this positive. That could be toxic at times where we try to ignore concern or the problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe,
Yeah.
of course, meant to not harm the patient or the client, just because they're not also aware of the right way to communicate.
Mm-mm.
Maybe you could take that into account.
Yeah, I think these are things we need to unlearn kasi it's
Mhm.
parang default, it's so easy for, oh, okay lang yan, just think positive. But at least now that we're talking about this more, mas magiging
Mhm.
mindful tayo na. As much as ang ganda ng intention mo in saying that,
Yeah.
hindi laging nakakatulong. You can listen to the longer conversation with Eiza on how to support a loved one with anxiety on Paano Ba To The Podcast exclusively on Spotify. Follow Paano Ba To on Instagram and you can join our private Facebook group.